to get to something that we all want,
Yeah,
which
no
is
doubt.
to be a good person.
No doubt. Look, I agree with you wholeheartedly. We're all fundamentally moving towards wanting to be the better version of ourselves,
Exactly.
and we know how we ought to do that.
But this isn't helping. All this.
I think this is helping. I think these dialogues. I love these types of dialogues.
There's so much hatred now.
Yeah, but you know what? You know what they talk about? Hatred is part of the unknown, right? Where you don't know the other, then you're going to fill in the blanks with your own assumptions of them or things that you hear about them. The only way we can get rid of that is by interacting people. That's what drives me as a person of faith to leave my family at home on a Sunday and come to Speaker's Corner to spend a bit of my time telling people that Islam isn't what you're taught by the media or by the far right or by this person. Islam has these fundamental core values that all religions share, essentially.
Oh, I agree with that.
But here's the problem with that statement. There's a caveat to that. If we recognize that there are rights amongst human beings, fundamentally speaking, like for instance, as good or bad as they are, our mother and father, they tried their best. They failed, they picked themselves up, but they tried their best to transform us into the people that we are now. They recognized instinctually when they brought a child into their life that we have a right over this human being. The right to firstly decide to bring it into the world and then to nurture it, give it food, give it protection. And so that was their recognition of those fundamental rights towards their child. When we, for instance, bring a pet into our life, again, the responsibility is there. Now, if that's true for what we know to be, know to be true, but amongst ourselves, if there is a creator, surely those rights also extend to this being that we recognize as the greatest of all.
Why does there have to be a creator? Why do you have to have religion?
No, so just putting aside religion, if we recognize that there is a creator, then the same thing that compels us to recognize those rights that our mother has over us, or our father has, or our pets have over us, that we look after it, or we give it, that mutual respect that it deserves. If that's true for those people who brought us into this life and those people that we bring into our life, or those things that we bring into our life, and we recognize that there's a being that brought us into existence, surely that same gratitude should be directed to that being to the utmost degree.
So what specific rights does that being have over us for bringing us into
Excellent question. Now, in the Quran, God says, in a very succinct verse, and we believe, by the way, if you don't know anything about Islam, the Quran, we believe, are the very words of God, the uncreated words of God. We don't believe that they are the words of Muhammad. We have the words of Muhammad recorded.
That's separate from the Quran?
That's right.
So is part of the Bible part in the Quran?
Wait, let him answer my question
sorry.
first
Go
real quick.
ahead,
I
go
want to
ahead.
know what rights specifically
Yeah.
the Creator is.
So the Creator says in the Quran, He firstly gives us what our purpose in life is. He says, I did not create jinn, which is an alternate form of life, nor mankind except that they worship me. But then the verse immediately continues and says, I do not ask you to feed me, nor that I ask you to sustain me, for I am the one who is the provider of all. So the point here is, our purpose in life is to worship God or to recognize His existence. And in doing so, our worship of Him is our gratitude and thanks to Him. That's all He wants. In doing so, what that allows us to do is hopefully recognize, number one, there is a source of all things, and number two, if there is a source of all things and that thing is communicated with us, that thing is in the best position to tell us how to live our life. Now, we can sort of come to that conclusion through various routes and means. We can theorize, or we can have a practical example before us that's been, when it's implemented properly, we can see it works. It works better than those other systems that have tried to theorize and make life work by turning away from God. And so, that conversation I was having with those two girls earlier on, essentially, you know what the conclusion that they came to when I asked them? They said that, I said to them, you guys don't believe in God. Do you believe, morally speaking, the world has become a better place as we've tended more towards technology and advancement of it, or has it become more morally corrupt? And I was surprised that they said the opposite. They said, I believe that the world is becoming more morally corrupt.
The world's been always morally corrupt. Religion's not going to fix that. Religion has caused a tremendous amount of heartache and pain for centuries.
Do you think that's because of religion, or do you believe...
Because one religion wants to impose their religion on another. The Christians had the Crusades, Islam just tried to conquer the world. The root of so many problems has been religion.
So when you take religion out of the equation, do you think the root cause will simply disappear? Or do you think that the 20th and 21st century are a good example?
Something else will fill the void.
Well, there you have it. So now the question then arises, do we live in a world of absolute good? Or is this a world of both good and evil?
Are you saying that people have to have religion to be good people?
No, I'm saying more fundamentally that invariably, if this world is a world of good and evil, then the idea is to try and minimize the evil by maximizing the most amount of good that we can within our lives. Now we can do that between ourselves, as a family, as a town, as a village, as a city, as a country, and as a collective, as a world.
No, I don't think people need religion, but religion's always been around when people had enough intelligence and
but I agree.
conscious thought.
We want to
But if you want
maximize
it,
the good.
religion
That's
will
it.
always be there.
Now the question is, are we able to maximize the good better with a concept of a being that is overarching over us, that we believe to be the all-hearing, the all-seeing, which all the major religions share? Or is it possible for us to maximize the good by negating that?
I believe maximizing the good is definitely accepting the existence of a higher being, but it doesn't go without saying that people in power
Will abuse that.
use this and weaponize it in order to justify maximizing their own versions
Yeah,
of evil.
no doubt.
And I think as long as you realize both of those, I mean, you can hold both of those in your head.
And choose the best version, right?
Right, and I mean, I think most people are just being ignorant and not choosing the best version.
And oftentimes what happens is that people often say, well, we don't need religion, without thinking about the opposite. Now our society has already played the experiment out, and we're currently playing it out as we speak. When you separate religion from life, separate the state from religion, what you find is that morality essentially becomes more and more relativized, to the point where suddenly you have movements, new age movements, the idea that, I identify as this thing today, but because there's no God, I can identify as something entirely opposite, whether it makes sense or not, the following day. You have new age religions raising up, like the Jedi movement, the Jedi religion that's recently become this big thing. Well, the reason why that is because if you get rid of absolute truths, you're going to have to fill it with something. Yeah.
But you can't fill it with ignorance.
No.
Religion is spreading ignorance. You teach a child that God made the grass green. I mean, people say shit like that.
Well,
You teach children that if you misbehave, you're going to hell.
Yeah.
You're going to tell a child that they're going to burn in eternal hell for stealing Cheerios or something.
Yeah,
You tell people
hopefully
that
not.
You better be good so you can go to heaven and repent your sins and pray and keep the Sabbath holy. That's nonsense.
Let me guess. Is he the atheist of the group?
I'm free.
Or are you kind of on the fence?
What are you, anything,
What are you?
I'm an absolute atheist.
Are you?
I
Hardcore,
believe-
right?
Atheist. We did not come from monkeys.
See, he believes in nothing,
We
but
got-
I believe in. I'm a
we still
universalist.
have-
I'm an agnostic.
I believe in.
You're an
every-
agnostic.
I'm
Can I address that? Very, very quickly.
Yeah.
No, I don't believe in Santa Claus. I don't believe in Chupacabra.
Okay, look.
I don't believe in Bigfoot.
Okay, look, one thing that I like to do with atheists is try and agree on the obvious. All of us human beings, surely we would agree on one thing, which is the present moment in time. Do we need any evidence to support the fact that we exist in the present? Or is it just so fundamentally obvious that we can take it as a given?
That's why
They
I
think
would-
that we're here because of God.
I would take- I would take-
Mike, we're going to go there. We're going to go there, don't worry. We're going to go there.
We're here right now.
Yeah,
we don't have to argue that.
Would you agree to that, Mike?
That what?
That we agree,
We're
that
here
all of
in
us,
this present moment
we
right now.
Exactly.
yeah, okay. Now, the next question I ask is the following. Could the present moment have come about without an immediate past causes?
I see what this is.
Okay.
I think that's pretty damn obvious.
Yeah, it is.
We
Right?
couldn't have today unless we had yesterday.
That's it.
Okay.
If there is no God, either the universe popped into existence by itself because it has a beginning, or the universe is eternal and therefore has never had a beginning.
You can't just say God created it, because there's no.
But Mike, I'm gonna
the
come to
big-
that.
The Big Bang is a theory.
Yeah.
But
the big-
you can't just say, well, I don't really know, so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but by his logic, I mean by the logic we just agreed to, the Big Bang will have had
A beginning.
Yeah.
But you can't just say the Big Bang had some being created.
No, but
You
look,
can't just make up an answer.
Mike, I'm going to come to the punchline, but I want to go through it step by step. Because I think, you know those fundamental laws that I spoke about, the law of non-contradiction,
Yeah.
the law of bivalence, and so on and so forth? I think it's possible to reach a preponderant conclusion that if we rule out God, we have to face certain imponderables that are impossible to be able to solve.
Example.
I've had a word with this individual before, so I'm going to try and keep it between us lot. So if the universe is eternal, that means that yesterday that you spoke about, Mike, has to extend back from one moment in the past to the next indefinitely without a beginning. There can't be a beginning because the universe is eternal, right? So there's one, so for instance,
The universe has always been there.
Yeah.
And it's expanding, and it goes forever. It doesn't stop.
I'll give you that.
And time, I think time doesn't stop.
Yeah, I'll give you that too. So time extends,
Time goes back as far as the human imagination can go.
well, time goes far back further than that. There is no beginning to that time, right? Now, if there's no beginning to that time, but we fundamentally recognize that we have to move from one cause to the next cause in order to reach the present moment that we all share, which we all believe is a priori, intuitively understood, we would have to what we would call traverse an infinite number of moments to come to the present moment.
I get that, and I really like the science. I find it fascinating, but I don't see the religious aspect. And why in the 7th century, after
No worries.
11 billion years, finally in the
Yeah.
7th century, Islam is enlightened, and finally 2,000 years ago, Jesus Christ
No worries.
was
I mean, that's-
born of a virgin.
That's a question.
Are you serious?
Trust me, that's a question further down the highway. But for the moment, if we recognize that the universe is eternal, we have to try and get our head around the idea that can an infinite be traversed? And the answer is no.
What do you mean be traversed?
Meaning, you go from one moment to the next, those causes that are dependent upon previous causes in order for us to reach the present moment in time. If there's no beginning to those causes, those causes indefinitely extend back. So one way I try and make things easy is as follows.
Maybe there could be an internal loop that's not really a beginning or an end. It's just completely a circular thing.
Yep.
Like-
The only problem with that option is as follows. Time is linear.
It might not be.
Okay, so
It might not be.
let's go with
We
what
don't know
Our
yet.
Let's go with what we know.
Time is linear.
If the universe revolves around and around in a cycle,
Yeah.
right? What's known as the cyclic theory.
Yeah.
Time doesn't cycle round and round. Time is a measurement of motion. So no matter how many millions or trillions or infinite number of times the universe has been circling around and around, big crunch, big bang, big crunch, big bang, the same causes that must prevail one after another in order for us to reach this present moment still obtain. They still exist. So the atheistic notion that, somehow we can get around this by claiming, the universe is eternal, can't solve the problem unless you undermine the notion of time. So time, however, as we know, is a mental construct. It can't be bottled. It can't be measured in a laboratory. So Einstein's idea, which was based upon the concept of what's known as positivism, that, space and time is an actual thing that exists out there. And from that, he began to, create his ideas of what the world ought to be like, is, fundamentally speaking, erroneous when it comes down to being able to determine whether time can be taken out of the air or space can be taken out of the air and measured in a laboratory. These are just mental constructs. My distance from me to you, Mike, is me using an arbitrary mental construct to determine my distance from me to you. It doesn't exist. What exists is the fact that you are a distance away. The measurement of it is what I've determined, or what human beings have determined in their minds.
Not exact.
It's not exact, and it doesn't exist in the real world.
Us is exact.
No, the measurement of it. You know the numbers? Like you're what? You're 60 centimeters or whatever away from me, which would be in millimeters, whatever, meters, whatever. That doesn't exist. You and I, we exist. We're a distance away.
Right, because we made that up. The time.
Precisely. It exists in our mind.
Because there's like a smallest amount, like a nanometer, and then once it gets smaller than that, then you can't really measure
Math.
it.
We didn't invent math. We discovered it.
But maths is not something that.
We didn't invent science. We discovered
Yeah,
it.
but the numbers.
We invented religion.
Yeah. So numbers, you can't pluck a number from.
Because the numbers have always existed.
Sure, but they exist in our mind, Mike. That's the point I'm trying to make to you.
No,
So,
they don't.
so show me the number one.
It's a discovery.
It's always existed. It's
Sure.
always been there.
If it's always been there,
We didn't invent the number one or the number two.
no, I'm not saying
We didn't
that.
invent like
Mike,
5 things.
I'm saying there are
We didn't
two.
invent the square root.
There's two types of existence: things that exist in our mind and things that exist outside our mind. You, as an entity, exist outside my mind. I know that because I can touch you. You have a dimension. I can see you. The number one, time, space, numbers, they don't exist outside in the extra mental world. They exist as a mental construct. We use them to make beautiful maths, to make sense of the world. So when we talk about time from measuring one moment to the next is a way for us to sort of conceptually determine one point from the other. So if the universe doesn't have a beginning, then we have to try and now account for how we traverse an infinite. But an actual infinite can't exist in the world. It can exist on paper. Cantor and these other mathematicians did beautiful mathematics in regards to the infinite.
It's not just on paper. It's an actual construct.
Yeah.
It's the infinite.
Yeah, so if it's an actual construct, that means the universe has no beginning. If it has no beginning, then the question then arises, if we still believe in time, i.e. we have to go from one cause to the next to reach the present, how were we able to traverse all those causes to reach the beginning? Now, a thought experiment, just to make things easier. My name's Hamza, nice to meet you. You're Mike. What's your name again?
Tony.
Tony, that's it. I always call you James, don't I?
Do you?
I call you James for some reason. He looks like a James Bond, you know? But Tony, that's a compliment.
Thank you.
So I'm the present moment. You're the immediate past, and Tony here is the immediate past before you. Now, if I say to you, Tony, I want a pound from you, and because you're the immediate cause that brought me into existence, you say, well, Hamza, I can't give you a pound until Tony gives me a pound. Tony has to give you a pound in order for you to give me a pound in order for me to exist. But Tony...
I'm not high enough to really understand that.
No worries. I mean, I'm trying to break it down as simply as possible. So let me go there.
What you're saying is correct. On the surface, it seems completely
So Tony,
illogical to infer infinite regress. Yeah,
Yes.
an infinity of that. However, the counter
An infinity.
to that is, as a point of fact, there are an increasing number of highly prestigious physicists who really do seem to understand the nature of time, etc., better than I do, or with respect to even Hamza might do, to the extent they can demonstrate in the lab predictive outcomes, yeah? Which I think is the acid test. Now, they do believe in an eternal universe. Now, Hamza's logic is totally correct. In a non-eternal universe, the notion of eternal regress is crazy. But in an eternal universe, you're just confirming the paradox.
What is an eternal universe?
You're kind of talking in circles. What does that have to do with religion?
Yeah. So let me just lay it
You
down.
have to have a God.
He will need
So
a creator.
if an actual infinite can't exist in the real world, the universe has to have a beginning. Now, if the universe has a beginning, we only have
But
three.
you're making up that the God is the beginning.
I know, but I'm gonna get
the
there.
beginning to justify
I need-
God, but if the physicists are right and it's
Yeah.
always been here,
Notice that
it doesn't
Tony
really-
used the word belief.
it doesn't mean
Name me one physicist that has been able to demonstrate using the laws of causality that logically speaking, that the universe is eternal. I believe in it, and
That's
whilst believing in the law of causality, we were able to reach the present moment. I don't know of any physicist who said that.
But you can't.
Sure, but tell me one physicist who's been able to. See, I've had a word with him. He wasn't able to give me a
But you can't
straight
just make
answer.
up the
Yeah,
answer.
but it can be,
Yeah.
but it also cannot be disproved, right?
Yeah, so let's.
It's ultimately
It's a point of conjecture.
every individual's choice whether they want to believe the
Sure. So believe what is the most obvious, or what you believe is the most obvious.
Right.
Do you believe that the present moment requires an evidence? I don't think so. Do you believe that the causes that brought about the present are required for the present to exist?
Right.
Yes. If the universe is eternal, like he said, and you believe in that,
Maybe. I didn't say
no,
it is.
I don't. No, we don't care about the maybes. There's only three options here. Either the universe is eternal, or it's not, or I don't care, turn off my brain and walk away. I think that's the last one is what Tony advocated when I spoke to him the last time, and he's advocating now. I.e.,
I'm advocating. I'm not sure.
it's possible it could exist, but you know what? I believe human beings can be a little bit more adventurous than that. I believe that if you have two more plausible explanations, why would you not go with that than just switch off your brain and say, oh, it's possible, but I'm not going to sort of contemplate the notion that an actual infinite may not be possible, or that the universe has a beginning.
I'm not sure. I shouldn't be sure.
Sure.
No, but
I would say,
there's another option here. I mean, what if the universe was a precursor to the beginning of time? Like, it was a very long time ago. Things were different then. You can't make assumptions about, like, on the basis of what's happening currently. Like,
Good question.
There's many other theories that
good question, but what I'm saying here is that if these fundamental laws are things that can never change, no matter how advanced we get, something and its opposite can't be true at the same time. No matter how advanced we get, we're still going to be making truth claims with our mouth. Or maybe we might be in the future, might be making it with our minds because we're telepathic in nature.
Hamza,
So-
what takeaway would you like me
Okay.
to keep
Tony-
as I get ready
Tony's
to
the
go
one
this
that-
way? Well, like,
Yeah.
what takeaway?
Okay, my takeaway is follow
I really
Tony.
enjoy the concept of time.
No worries. If the universe isn't eternal, it has to have a beginning. If the universe has a beginning, either the universe came about through nothing. Nothing is the absence of all things, including potentiality. My contention is that
That's a bit sad.
a rationally minded person,
Nothing is the
absence of all things.
absence of all things. Okay.
Now, I don't think. Again, I think it's as fundamental as
Okay.
the present moment. If nothing is the absence of all thing, it can never bring anything about. That brings us to the only conclusion
What's
we
the
have.
correlation to religion?
So
What's
this is
the
it.
only conclusion we
So
have?
here it is.
Yeah, bring
and,
it on.
and this is
I'm
the
waiting.
correlation.
I've been waiting for
Need
this.
something to kick-start the beginning.
Precisely.
Hence God.
And
It's
this
called
thing.
the cosmological argument.
No, it's not. This thing, no, it's not actually. This thing that brought the universe into existence, it has to have certain attributes. Because there's nothing that exists except that it has to have attributes.
Apparently, it has to be intelligent.
So think about it like this. If all of the sum total of our experiences tells us that things that exist have to have attributes. For instance, you and I, animals, etc., things that are animate, we have a volition. We decide to do things. The only way we can decide to pull off doing things is that we have to have a certain level of power. Define that as you will. We have to have a certain level of knowledge because things that have volition, that have power to bring about what they want to do, have to, by necessity, have knowledge of the thing. So if I want to
So it can't
give you a
happen by
kiss,
itself.
Mike, I got to have knowledge of how to kiss, right?
So it can't happen by itself.
So this thing that brought the universe into existence has to, by necessity, have attributes. Because something that doesn't have attributes is as good as nothing. Since the thing that brought the universe into existence has to have knowledge, power that is equal to or greater than the thing that it brought into existence, we can come to a fairly obvious conclusion that this thing has to be the most powerful thing and the most knowledgeable thing. Why? Knowledgeable.
Why?
Because why?
Why does it have to have?
Just because think about something that exists that decides to do something but doesn't have information regarding the thing that it's going to do.
Why isn't it just a force?
Just ask yourself this simple question.
It wouldn't create anything that we could actually depict because it needs to have knowledge.
Exactly.
Yeah, I see your point.
Exactly. So if that's true, and the universe, his scientists are telling us, and my scientists as well, and all of ours, that the universe had four fundamental constants If those constants weren't there, the universe as we know it wouldn't be able to arise. The weak and strong nuclear forces, gravitation, and electromagnetism. And some of the scientists have said, like Paul Davies and others, have said that if these were just slightly out of sync, either the universe would begin, but it would remain inert. No hydrogen, no helium, no greater elements such that we would have the means of being, for Earth to arise and have animals and life. Or it wouldn't exist to begin with.
It would collapse into itself.
Yeah, I believe all of that, yeah.
Yeah. So from that, we have a verse in the Quran, and I'll give this to you guys, and you can have a ponder of this. The verse in the Quran says, or were they created by nothing? Or did they create themselves? Or were they the creators of the heavens and the earth, meaning the universe? Nay, they have no certainty. Meaning the atheists or the agnostics who claim that God doesn't exist, they have to face these three imponderables. Nothing bringing about the universe, something bringing about us bringing about the universe. And
or it was always here. So there's four options, but he's only presenting you with
which
three.
I've already dealt with.
Okay, and there are Nobel Prize winning scientists. I can show you.
Like
the
for
list.
instance, give me one who's been able
Roger
to.
Penrose, who won the Nobel Prize Physics in 1923.
How many take? That'll be my
Give me
take.
the three
No worries.
again. What was the three options you said? You said either we created,
So were they created by nothing?
right?
Or did they create themselves?
Right.
We know we didn't create ourselves, our mother and father, their mother and father, and so on and so forth. Or were we the creators of the universe?
Or it was always here.
Now, we're the sum total. If the universe is always here, trust me, this present moment wouldn't come here without Roger Penrose and these other atheistic scientists like Lawrence Krauss explaining how we're able to traverse an infinite. Because there's two types of time. And the atheists have come up with what they think is an ingenious way of getting around the problem that we all know, which is that time isn't something that exists because the universe exists as a whole. There's no evidence for that. What we know is that the only thing that exists is the present. The past used to exist, it no longer exists, so time travel is out of the equation. And the future is still yet to come, but it doesn't exist like we exist. So our concept as a Muslim is, as God describes in the Quran, the one who is the yudabbir al-amr, the sustainer, the one who has control over each moment in the present. He controls everything, and because we acknowledge him as the source that brought everything into existence, we have to acknowledge him as the one that sustains each and every moment thereafter.
What if I can't get to that point? What advice? I mean, back to the very fundamental question of humans. We want to know how to live our lives, and we want to be good people.
Yeah.
What advice could you give me for tomorrow morning? Like, how can I live some tools I can use for living like a meaningful life?
No worries, I'll give it to you.
In the chaos of the world, that it's just sickening.
Sure.
Give me something positive to take tomorrow that I can just, use to be a better person.
I'll give you a verse in the Quran, very general.
Okay.
No
remember
one will be able to deny this, right? Inna Allah ya'mur bil adli wal ihsan. Allah says, truly God, He commands to all that is just. And ihsan, all those actions that lead to goodness. Now this goodness should be goodness that we determine morally, both not just individualistically, but collectively. So for instance, without the laws of a land facilitating us maximizing what's going to make us better human beings between ourselves and also as a collective, then any law that leads to the contrary to that, we know that we're not going to implement that.
I think it'd be better if you just didn't do anything you wouldn't tell your mother or your wife about. I think that's
What surah was that?
What number is that in the Quran?
Surah, I think
have
it's
a Quran
Ar-Rahman.
at home. I'll look it up.
Your question is exactly the right question.
We all.
So let me just finish the verse. It says, Ihsan, all those things that God has commanded you to do. And God commands, as in the Quran, He commands to do goodness. Like for instance, your mother and father. God says that alongside God's rights, He says, be the best that you can be to your mother and father. And one of the verses is, if your mother and father reach an old age, extend a wing of humility over them and don't say uff. Forget a word of disrespect. The Quran's idea of respect towards your mother and father is not even a sound of disrespect. Forget taking them and throwing them in old people's home. If you deny that, you're going to have a hell of a time in front of God when he asks you, you knew your mother and father had rights over you, where they sacrificed time and effort to bring you up in the way that they did, irrespective of how good or bad they were. And when they reached perpetual old age, you threw them in an old people's home when you knew you could have done a better job. And then God says, and do not kill your children out of fear of poverty. For God, he feeds them and he feeds you. During the reason why this verse was revealed is because of the idea that some of the poorer pagan Arabs, they buried their daughters alive because they believed that their daughters were a financial liability. You've got to marry them off and so on and so forth. So Islam came to rectify the wrongs in society. If you have a look at the fundamental laws of Islam, you'll probably come away thinking, well, that's pretty much what I've been implementing all my life.
Is it the 5 pillars of Islam faith? Or
More than that.
more than that?
More than that. Because the 5 pillars are to do with both God's rights and our rights towards God.
I do a lot of that anyway in my daily life.
Yeah. So, but here's the issue. The hierarchy of rights. If we are, for instance, Mother Teresa towards everyone around us, but at the end of the day, we deny God, worse still, we worship God in the form of things that are not worthy of being worshipped, then no matter how good we've been with human beings, once we return to God and he holds us to account, and he asks you, who created you? Your mother or father? Your neighbors? Your dogs? Your cat? And you recognize that no, it was you, and he asks you the simple question, were the evidences that were brought forth to you in regards to God not clear? Did you not know that if you believe in God, that you're going to be brought back to him and he's going to ask you the easy question, where were my rights? Did you try and find my rights in life? Then that's where the breakdown comes.
I'm going to read up on that.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you for the wisdom.
What was your name, by the way?
Charlie.
Oh, seriously.
Charlie,
Yeah.
Mike, nice to meet
I
you.
really appreciate that you stopped us. There was no disrespect there. I had a good conversation.
No
I'm
worries.
taking away the time construct.
Guys, would you like a little read?
I have a Quran.
You have a Quran?
Is that a Quran? Or
No?
is it a Quran?
Would you like a Quran?
I'll share that with you. I have a Quran.
You have one. Would you like a Musaf? Quran?
No, it's all good. I think that's my dad.
Oh, it's your dad,
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
I'll
Oh,
give
it's
you
a
like
pleasure to
30
meet you. Thank you very
All the
much.
best, right?
Yeah, no, great
Safe journey home as well.
Yeah, thank you again.
That's all, mate. Cheers.
You got a lot of microphones on you.